Hi everyone, it's Becky here. Welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel, and today I am taking you all on the ferry to Bowen Island. It's about a 20-minute ferry ride from the Horseshoe Bay Ferry Terminal in West Vancouver. Here we are arriving at Horseshoe Bay Ferry Terminal. So the ferries here in BC are taking both cars and other large vehicles and foot passengers. Here we are boarding onto the ferry to Bowen Island. So we're gonna park our vehicles here on the lower deck and take the elevator or the stairs to the upper deck to look at the views outside the windows. So the name of this boat is the Queen of Capilano. And a lot of people are sitting down here. There's a cafeteria where you can get coffee and snacks. We're leaving Horseshoe Bay Ferry Terminal. Beautiful water and a little island not so far away. Beautiful mountain ranges. So the ferry is so spacious, very bright and clean with lots of big windows to see the mountains and the sea outside. I'm really enjoying my ride.
Attention passengers. We will arrive at the terminal in approximately 5 minutes. Attention on time for the next sailing. Please disembark using the designated walkway on the plated side of the ramp.
Yeah, and here we are, disembarked from the ferry and driving around this little village of Bowen Island. Here's a really cute little house over here, and I'm trying to find a cafe. Here it is. It's the Snug Cafe, pretty close to the ferry terminal. So I'm gonna get lunch, coffee, and a little snack for myself and my parents. Here is the busy cafe here with lots of people ordering. Got lots of food. So I got my cup of latte, an almond croissant, and a Caesar salad wrap with soup. So I'm gonna finish my coffee and snack and half of that wrap before moving on to this sketch of the exterior, the patio area of the cafe. So something happened to my phone while I was trying to film the beginning of this sketch. It kind of stopped recording, so I had to redo it again. So as you can see, I started with sketching these people quickly eating their lunches and then moving on to touring the rest of the island. So other than just using lines, as you can see, sometimes I'm adding a chunk of black inked area for shaded spots in any scenery. And also adding these fences and the shed behind that door there. Here I am sketching live here on location. So as usual, I sketched my coffee and croissant. I started this urban sketch with the man there, the back view of him, and then the ladies sitting around him. And after drawing the people, their benches and tables, which are having a lot of horizontal lines, I drew the fences and the railings, and now I am drawing the side view of this cafe building. Because I'm looking at this building from the side, so a lot of these lines are like slanting down towards the right, okay? So I'm looking at this part of the building mostly above my eye level. So a lot of these horizontal lines are actually going downwards towards the right. The triangular shape of the roof, as you can see, it is tilting down towards the right, and it is following the rule of perspective. Yes, I believe we have a 1-point perspective here. A lot of these horizontal lines are going down towards the middle part of the sheet of paper to a vanishing point somewhere in the middle of those people. And now, the drawing speed right now you're watching is in real time because I don't want to kind of speed up and can't really see what's really happening. And so yeah, the vertical lines are very straightforward, just perpendicular. You just have to watch out these both long and short horizontal lines that should be going downwards towards the right, like the door and window frames. Yeah, so just like these two lines that I just drew, and then the vertical lines are pretty straightforward. And there are also a lot of interesting little shapes to add on too. And the window frames and the door frames has several layers. And for me, I believe windows and doors are like little slabs of rectangular prisms carved out from the surface of buildings. Yeah, just keep adding these layers. For the windows over here, yeah, a lot of vertical lines and slanting horizontal lines. And just drawing these kind of like random wires supporting that little machine. It's kind of like a little fan spinning up there. And then these important lines that really help to define the angle of this building. As I mentioned before, these horizontal lines are slanting down towards the right, trying to meet a vanishing point somewhere in the middle of that group of people. And once the major lines are determined here on paper, I'm just adding some of these hatching and accentuation to suggest shaded areas and to let some of the shapes like the window and door frames, the roof edges pop up even better. Okay, and now it's time to add behind the railings and then to draw the foliage shapes. I love these dangling leaves there behind those people. And just drawing these foliage details very quickly and spontaneously without overthinking, and then adding these horizontal lines, the canopy structure for this patio area, and these foreshortened lines supporting these horizontal wooden planks, and the little roof, adding a bit of accentuation in between, and then more foliage outlines behind the fence there. And that's it for the drawing. Now I'm gonna use my Mongyo watercolor palette. I put a few of my Etchr, like the Viridian Green, the Raw Umber, and a Cherry Red from Etchr. So it's not all Mongyo colors. So I'm gonna begin painting the space in the very back. For landscapes and most outdoor sceneries is the sky. So I just wetted the sky area, which is very small, with clear water, and just grabbing a little bit of cerulean blue. Kind of added on the top edge over there. A little heavier town containing less water. Trying to make the sky really vibrant to depict the fresh sunny day. And this part of the painting process that you're watching right now is in real-time speed. I really want to make it realistic for you to see my actual painting process. Now I'm just wetting the foliage area in front of the sky with a little clear water. Grabbing a little bit of yellow ochre, mix it with lime green as the first layer for very much all the trees and bushes. And using very loose, soft brush strokes, merging many of the brush strokes together to form a really nice texture. And now I'm ready to do some super fun wet onto wet of a different value of green. So this is very much just fresh Viridian Green from the palette. Just punch it on using the same technique of thick and round dots of brushstrokes. And same for the evergreen tree here. It starts off with a nice mid-tone. So for all evergreen trees, the lightest tone on them is of a mid-tone of green, usually Viridian Green. And for deciduous trees, the lightest value is of pretty vibrant yellow-green. And now I am just punching on this yellow-green, again this mix with yellow ochre and lime green. So my brushstroke is sort of following the rhythm of how the leaves are laid out on the branches and on the mass of the tree's canopy. Yeah, more or less yellow ochre depending on how much sunshine it's getting. And then wet onto wet, the viridian green around the bottom part of the tree or the bush. And again, I really love how the brush strokes are coming out and fading out a little bit by the still wet paint underneath. And for this part, I don't like to stir too much and just let it be, because I love the relief texture of the darker value of green on top of the yellow green. Now I'm ready to let go of the foliage area and paint the exterior of the cafe. It's a really nice nostalgic turquoise color. So yeah, grabbing some cerulean blue and mix it with a bit of lime green to get a super refreshing turquoise. So as always, when I'm laying my colors down, even on the seemingly flat surface of the exterior of a building, I don't stress out too much on making it like super perfectly flat. I just keep my brushstrokes quite minimal and just let the watercolors to flow and have a bit of unevenness, which adds so much more life than a perfect flat wash. So as you can see, I'm leaving part of this exterior a slightly diluted turquoise, because a flat surface is never just 100% of a single flat color. There's always a bit of daylight or sunshine reflected onto it, making certain areas of a flat surface a little bit brighter than the other areas, which is a really subtle kind of effect caused by nature. Yeah, so with this idea in mind, if you look at the world around you, nothing is of just one single color. Apples are not just red or yellow or green. It's always made up of several colors and values of that single color. So now I'm ready to go back to the foliage and add some darker values of green. Because it's a bright sunny day, the darkest value of green is actually very minimal on these trees. So as you can see, I'm not over adding this darkest value, mostly just around the bottom part of these trees and preserving most of the areas with yellow green and that mid green. Yep, and keeping my brush strokes really tiny and choppy. So these lush greens are adding so much life to this urban landscape. And when I'm doing urban sketching, most of the time I like to incorporate a number of foliage, like trees, bushes, shrubs, and grass into my urban sketch, rather than just sketching dry buildings and people. And that's it for the foliage. Now I'm ready to paint these brown areas of the fences and the railings and these supporting structures, the tables and benches. Okay, so just a very quick loose wash of burnt sienna containing a lot of water, wet onto wet burnt sienna mixed with leftover blue for a sepia tone for some shaded areas. And just grabbing some leftover brown and sepia. So I like to make my own sepia and dark sepia by mixing cobalt blue with burnt sienna. And also some greens for the doors and window frames. And also don't forget a little bit brown in between those people, those tiny little gaps between the people. We have the brown for the wooden structures. And then using this leftover yellow orange and orange brown to paint the canopy area of the patio. And the skin color for these people is a mix of red and a little bit orange diluted with a lot of water to get the peachy color for these people's skins, the faces, the arms. And grabbing some leftover brown to paint these people's hair, mostly the ladies. And this guy, I think he was wearing a purple shirt. So I just mix my own with magenta and a bit of cobalt blue. Yeah, I remember this girl was wearing a pretty bright turquoise shirt, echoing with the color of the cafe exterior. And this girl here, remember, she was wearing a black shirt. This one, like a little 10-year-old, she was wearing a pink-purple shirt. So just another quick tip about sketching people when they're sitting down, their legs are underneath the tabletop, is that don't forget drawing those lines and coloring those areas in, because we don't want to create, weird people just floating on the tabletop, right? Don't forget their legs. And all right, just some little final polish here and there. I don't want to overpaint the fence behind because it's kind of illuminated by the sunshine. So I just want to keep it really, really nice, diluted yellow-brown. Back there. And just using the leftover bluish grays to paint that guy's shirt there in the back. Keeping my washes pretty fluid because it's really hard to see a super solid color in this bright sunny day. And the little plants on the table, using the leftover green reflected onto these glass window panels. The leftover bluish gray for the roof and red-brown for the wooden door. Yeah, now I think the door is really pops out from there. It's a really nice coloring decision there. Okay, and now just grabbing some cerulean blue to add some more vibrancy for the sky. Leftover gray for the metallic roof up there. Leftover brown for the guy's belt. Shape their faces, and I forgot some of the skin areas of these people. And her little shorts. Adding a bit of a leftover blue for the guy's back because he's against the light. And that's very much it for this sketch. I'm just gonna use my drawing pen to write down the place, the Snug Cafe on Bowen Island. This is my very first time here. The day and the date, early in July. I'm so behind in editing these videos. And so we spent the rest of our day walking around this artisan plaza. And also more nature walking at this Crippen Park. This is a lagoon somewhere around the Crippen Park. Lots of ducks and geese. And stay tuned for my next video showing you how I sketch this epic sunset scenery at one of the beaches on Bowen Island from real life observation. And I will see you again very soon next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.